Black Star Network is.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Folks, today's Friday, May 15th, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. We're here live in Montgomery, Alabama, site of tomorrow's National Day of Action when it comes to voting rights. Of course, we're going to be broadcasting that here on the Black Star Network. Today, though, we're going to be talking about what's happening in Georgia. We're talking to Gerald Griggs, head of the NAACP there. The election is on Tuesday. What's going on with young voters in Georgia? They're not turning out. We'll also talk to State Representative Angie Nixon, who is staging a sit-in as we speak at the state capitol of the governor's office, Ron DeSantis. There are a number of other folks we'll be talking with on today's show as well. Lots to talk about when it comes to voting rights, when it comes to the GOP targeting Black America. Folks, it is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, this is a live look at the state capitol here in Montgomery, Alabama, where tomorrow more than 5,000 people will be gathering here for the All Roads Lead to the South Day of Action here in Montgomery. And so, again, we are going to be broadcasting live tomorrow in about an hour. The streets are going to be blocked off behind us. They're going to be setting up the staging to prepare for tomorrow. Folks, again, more than 5,000 people have already registered. More than 100 buses are going to be traveling here as well. In addition to that, we also are going to have some 65 satellite events taking place all around the country as far as the way of Alaska. And so, again, so what's going to be happening is, again, as you see right now, you see that red truck right there. So the staging is going to be at the base of the Capitol right there. And so I'm going to do something over here. So just give me 1 second. So, folks, if you look over here, you'll see right here. This here is there's a monument here. Let me see if I can zoom in. So this monument that you see right here, this particular monument references the Selma to Montgomery March that took place after Bloody Sunday. That monument commemorates Dr. King giving his speech after the Selma March right here in the state capitol. And so just to give you a understanding of where we are, again, folks, this is the state capitol here in Montgomery. If you see right here, folks, this right here is Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church, where Dr. King was the pastor. And so you see how close the church is to the state capitol. And so when they finished that march from Selma to Montgomery, Dr. King gave his famous speech there. And so what's going to be happening is folks are going to be gathered here tomorrow. We're going to be live beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern in Selma, because they're going to be having an event there. There's going to be a solemn walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We'll be carrying that live. Then we'll be live here from just right here, of course, in this particular city, Montgomery, for the event going live at 1 p.m. Eastern, going till 5 o'clock. So lots to talk about. You got elections going on across the country. Louisiana, they go to the polls tomorrow. Georgia goes to the poll on Tuesday. And the other day, Gerald Griggs, who leads the NAACP state conference in Georgia, posted a graphic on social media that really got my attention. And it showed that voters 18 to 39 only represent about 10% of the more than 600,000 people who have turned out. And so joining us right now is Gerald Griggs. Gerald, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Roland. Looking forward to being with you tomorrow in Alabama.
So, Gerald, when you posted that, man, that caught my attention because, and I've been saying this and I posted on my social media, and I've been saying to young voters, listen, you keep complaining about old folks being involved in politics and old folks doing this and doing that. But the reality is the numbers that you showed that the largest group, 50+% of the people who voted early were 65 plus. The next group below them, the lowest group was 18 to 39. And what I keep saying to folks 18 to 39, you can't keep complaining about old folks in the politics if they're the ones who are the ones showing up at the polls.
Absolutely. And they have to be more engaged. And so ultimately, what we're seeing is a lack of energy in the turnout in that 18 to 39-year-old demographic here in Georgia. Now, there has been an uptick since I posted that graphic. Today, we broke records. Almost 1 million people have voted early, but we're still only at about 11% of those being below the age of 30, 39 to that 18. So we have to get that energy up. The polls are still open for about another 30 minutes here in Georgia, and then they will close until Election Day on Tuesday. So we got to get that momentum up in the young people. I see a lot of comments and talking and posting on all the social platforms. We're not seeing a lot of foot traffic that reflects that energy that they're showing online.
Look, and that's your point. You make that point. I'm like, hey, y'all got a lot of stuff to say on Threads and Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, but it's not translating to the polls. And that to me, and what I've said to young folks, 1839, hey, man, listen, y'all have got to show up and show out. You can't complain and you don't participate in the process.
Absolutely. You have to translate the anger that you're seeing online into actual action, actual tangible results in a voting block. And we have to be honest, they're the most populous rated group in Georgia that are with registration. They are the biggest group, but they are not turning out in the numbers that would reflect actual change in the percentile in the election, and thus the politicians cater towards the older generation, and that's why you see an older generation still in control of our political discourse around this country, but particularly in the state of Georgia.
Well, that's a great point there. And again, we talked about those demographic numbers when we were talking about young voters. We were talking about how they outnumber baby boomers in Gen X. But again, having numbers mean nothing if you don't show up, if you don't use your power.
Absolutely. You have to turn that nominal percentile that you are above these individuals into actual political power by putting a voting base that is consistent. And I think that with what's happening in our country right now, the attack on African American voting power, it's time for the young people to accept the mantle and go do the most patriotic thing they can do possible, and that's actually vote. Turn that internet rage into actual electoral power.
Gerald, of course, you have a couple of things going on. So you have the primary taking place on Tuesday, but you have two critical Supreme Court races that is for all the marbles. That's not a primary. Whoever wins on Tuesday wins those two Supreme Court seats. There's not been an incumbent in Georgia that has lost at the polls in more than 100 years. That's also because of this quirky Georgia law that says that if you resign your seat and they appoint someone, the election gets canceled, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And so we've had two of those candidates on, and folks better pay attention because, again, this is an opportunity to stop this hard right direction of the Supreme Court. And so that's what's going on.
Exactly. And people need to understand that that election is an actual election. It's not a primary. And so you have two candidates that are running to replace two candidates on to incumbents on the Supreme Court in the state of Georgia. And as you said, it's for all the marbles. You could have an opportunity to remove the court packing that has happened by Brian Kemp by appointing individuals that have his same ideological bent. And my hope is that the race will remain nonpartisan, but the court is not acting nonpartisan. So I think it's time for people to understand that our judicial races happen in May. They don't happen in November. And that's why it's incumbent upon the younger generation to understand and to turn out, because those individuals are going to be making the decision on how to apply Georgia law. And Georgia law is the dominant law here in the state. Of course, you have the federal law, but the 10th Amendment says all powers not expressly given to the federal government go to the states. And the final arbiter of the law in the state of Georgia is the Georgia Supreme Court.
We just saw Governor Brian Kemp announce he's going to be calling a special session there in Georgia. What impact do you think that's going to have in turnout? Because that obviously has ticked off a lot of black folks.
Absolutely. And we've seen record-breaking response since that decision. We saw a one-day surge of over 50,000 voters just right after the decision. And today we don't have all the numbers, but I fully expect you'll see 100,000 people go early voting. We've already broken the record for early voting. And you know, Georgia likes to break records. So whenever you break a record in a primary for a state that's already breaking records, you start to see the anger become palpable and it turn into electoral victory. So my hope is that people will continue to vote. We have about 30 some odd minutes left for early vote, and then we will see massive turnout on election day. So I think that it has fueled African Americans to turn out to vote in numbers we haven't seen in a long time in Georgia.
Are you seeing folks preparing buses and things along those lines ready to go to the polls on Tuesday?
Absolutely. We're seeing buses get ready from all over the state of Georgia. We have seen that there are now suggestions that we use our African-American ride share companies and our taxis to get people to the polls. We're seeing an enthusiasm in Georgia and other places throughout the South that we haven't seen in a long time because of this Louisiana decision. And I think it will translate on Tuesday evening into a record turnout for a primary election and the nonpartisan judicial election. So we are seeing people be motivated in ways they haven't seen in years.
Well, and that's the point that we always make. Bottom line is folks got to recognize that the way you want to impact power, you must show up at the polls. Gerald Griggs, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you. See you soon.
Absolutely. Folks, got to go to a quick break. We come back more. We're going to talk about what's happening in Louisiana. We'll talk to the state official there. We'll also talk with State Representative Angie Nixon in Florida, who's leading a protest in the governor's office there in Florida. We'll come up with our panel as well. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network, live from Montgomery, Alabama. Site of tomorrow's, pull a graphic up, y'all. Site of tomorrow's All Roads Lead to the South rally, the national day of action when it comes to voting rights. Again, taking place tomorrow right here in Montgomery, Alabama. We will have live coverage right here on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment.
They've been trying to erase black political power since Reconstruction. Now the Supreme Court is helping them finish the job. First came Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the ruling that gutted the Voting Rights Act. Then came Brnovich in 2021, another ruling, another piece torn away. Now comes Calais, the case civil rights leaders warned could cripple the last major federal protection against racial vote dilution. And within days, Tennessee eliminated its only majority black congressional district. Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama. The same strategy is spreading across the South. The old Jim Crow used poll taxes and literacy tests. The new Jim Crow uses gerrymandered maps, voter roll purges, polling place closures, and court rulings that make black communities politically invisible. But this story doesn't end in a courtroom. It moves to Selma. May 16th is a national day of action. Faith leaders will gather at the Edmund Pettus Bridge at 9 a.m. A mass rally follows at the Alabama State Capitol from 1 to 5 p.m. 1965 was Freedom Summer. This is Freedom Summer 2.0 because they are still trying to erase black political power, and we will not bow.
This
This week at the Black Table, we discuss a place, an idea, a dream, and a reality that everybody on the planet should know about. A place called Mound Bayou.
What about black people creating their own country, not from the outside in, but from the inside out?
That's next on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
Hey, I'm TD Jakes, and you are watching the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back. My panel joining me is Dr. Avis Jones-DeWeaver. She will be, so Avis, you should be there. Let me know. Candace Kelly, legal analyst and host of Takeaway with Candace Kelly, joining us from South Orange, New Jersey. Also, Michael Imhotep, host, African History Network show out of Detroit. Glad to have all three of y'all there. Candace, I want to start with you. This is the graphic I'm talking about. This is what Gerald had posted. 696,353 people had voted. This is a couple of days ago. 65 plus, 386,209. That represents 55.5% of all people that voted. The next group, 50 to 64, 184,932. That's 26.6%. And so that's also my Gen X people. 40 to 49. 56,908, representing 8.2%. 30 to 39, 36,660, 5.3%. 18 to 29, 31,171, 4.5%. That means that 18 to 39, Candace, represents 9.8% of all people that voted. And here we are talking about fighting for voting rights. And I got to be honest, what pisses me off is that the people who are most upset, who are most angry, are folks who are 65 plus. These are the people who were baby boomers. These were the people who lived through Jim Crow. These are the people who fought Jim Crow. Again, we're standing right here. Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church is sitting right here. These are the people that made it a reality. And I'm somehow saying to this generation, you know, all this bullshit, we not our ancestors. Guess what? You're not. You're not. And I'm going to need these folks to show up, because you can't keep saying, tear this system down, change the system, if you literally do not show up at the ballot box.
Mm-hmm. And here's what we know, Roland, holding up my phone here. If they could vote on the phone, that would be a big difference, because this is where a lot of them live. And I'm not blaming them, but that really is just what they do. They doom scroll, and they don't understand the power and the purpose of why they are put here in terms of what they're supposed to be doing in the democratic process. But I do think that we also have a generation that has their eyes open. And they're the ones that are training. They're the ones that are becoming the next leaders. But it is not clear to the majority of the young people in that age group that there is still work to be done. And unfortunately, the Supreme Court decision has helped make people just a little more downtrodden and unable to understand that they still need to get dressed, get up, and go to the polls. It does make a difference. The battle is not over. The Supreme Court has made their decision in Calais, but we also know that states do have power. We also know that people have power. We also know that, you know, on a federal level, that's what we're talking about. And yeah, that's kind of a dead end right now. We have to admit that. But there are other things that we are doing right now, just like you being down there. There are other things that have to be done, and we need them. And hopefully the more the message is spoken about, the more they will get the message and finally do something. But they have to, across the board, they got to get off these phones. The phones are great for galvanizing and creating community, and it does a lot of other good things. but it does a lot of bad things. And when it comes to the democratic process, I'm afraid that a lot of people are at home, just like the statistics say.
All right, Ava, so this is my frustration. What I get is, man, y'all shouldn't be calling out young people. You shouldn't be dogging young people. You shouldn't be challenging them, and you should be, helping them along. Okay, Avis, this is really my problem. We were waiting for the walkthrough, and me and the staff, we went to go see the parsonage, the Dexter Avenue parsonage, where Dr. King lived. This was the house that was where a stick of dynamite was thrown on the porch that almost killed Coretta Scott King and a woman from the church and Yolanda King, who was in the house. Okay, Dr. King was 25 when he came here. John Lewis, 19. I think about Marion Barry. I think about Diane Nash, James Bevel. I think about all these people, C.T. Vivian. Think about C.T. Vivian was one of the older folks. Andrew Young was one of the older folks. The civil rights movement was a collection of a whole lot of young people. I'm sitting here, there's this mural in the basement here of Dexter Avenue, and they had all these folks on the wall, and James Farmer, James Foreman, who was SNCC. They had on that wall John Lewis, Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, Huey P. Newton. And I sit here and go, I need people to understand, these were young people who were involved. So excuse me if I can't offer excuses for folks 18 to 25 by saying, oh, they're young.
Well, you're exactly right. It kind of reminds me of the saying, hard times make strong men make good times make weak men make hard times. And I feel like we are in that cyclical process right now, because you had men and women who were fighting a very hard and oppressive system. Many of them did not live to see the end of it. And they fought it for years and years in spite of the danger associated with it. I know for me, I'm the first person born in my family that was born literally with her voting rights intact. This is not an ancient time ago. I don't think I'm ancient, okay? It's not that long ago. And so here's the thing. There was a break and I want to put some of the responsibility on those people who are in my generation and millennials, perhaps. We have to take responsibility to teach our children their history. We have to. Too many of us were too concerned about moving to the quote unquote good neighborhoods, putting our kids in the quote unquote good schools, completely detaching them from their history and culture. Why are we surprised that so many of them don't even seem to get a sense of what's at stake right now? I know for me, I was very intentional about teaching my sons when they were small, ever since before even they started kindergarten. They were learning Black history from the very beginning. And so I can tell you one thing, they both voted in this Virginia election, all right? So I have to tell you that we have to do a better job of relaying our struggle and our fight and our win. And our wins over the years. We have to let them know about our warriors in history and letting our younger people know that they have the power to do that too. But they can't afford to just check out, because if they check out, if you think things are bad now, you just wait until years go by and the generations that are fighting right now start to go by the wayside. What is going to be left for that generation and the ones that come after them?
Yep. Michael, I posted something on my Instagram, and I had somebody say to me, man, you gotta make it a lot easier for us to catch your show. And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, again, I'm trying not to cuss, but when folks keep telling me, oh my God, We need to know these things. We don't know what's going on. I'm like, yo, we're here 5 days a week. 5 days a week. And then it's like, yeah, but you gotta, but you gotta go where the young folks are. You gotta put it there. And I'm like, okay, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. But at some point, the onus has to be on them. At some point, has to be on them. And what I've said to young folks, like it's like, listen, don't ask about a baton. Create your own organization. Go out and make it happen. And when I look at those numbers, and again, 65 plus, the next group, the two lowest groups are 1839. And when we're out here talking about fighting, the folk who are in their 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and some of their 90s are literally fighting for the folk 18 to 39. But I'm sorry, you got to show up.
Yeah, Roland. So it's so much here. Let me try to make this as succinct as I can. So first of all, your understanding of politics is directly related to your understanding of history. And when you talk to a lot of these younger people, and you talk to Gen Z, millennials, a lot of them do not understand history. When you've lived through history, like my parents were born during World War II, and my parents are from the South. Okay, so they're coming from Jim Crow segregation. All right, when you talk about the March on Washington, August 28th, 1963. A few months before that, in June 1963, there was a march here in Detroit. Dr. King was in that march. My mother was in that march, right? So when you talk to my parents, okay, about certain things, when you live through it, you have a different understanding. So you are on YouTube. People can watch your show in clips. They can watch the full show. One of the things that I do is when I encounter people who don't understand voting, don't want to vote, I ask them, okay, so what issues are you concerned about? Okay, and then we connect how policy shapes those issues. One of the things I encourage people to do is go on YouTube and search for Eyes on the Prize and watch clips of Eyes on the Prize, one of the best documentaries dealing with the civil rights movement. And I usually watch it every February. I have the box set on DVD. I go and watch the entire thing. You understand the Mississippi State Convention. You understand why they were suppressing the black vote. You understand what we went through to get these rights. And the other thing that people have to understand is the Reconstruction era and the collapse of Reconstruction in 1877 and the political violence that brought about the end of Reconstruction. And when the January 6, 2021 insurrection took place, historian Eric Foner, who's one of the best historians on the Reconstruction era, connected the political violence that brought it into Reconstruction. He connected that to the January 6, 2021 insurrection and how that was a backlash to African Americans voting for Biden and Harris. That was a backlash to the racial reckoning that took place after the death of George Floyd. Okay. And we see that Project 2025 is a backlash to all of that. So when we start connecting these dots and connecting policy to history, then we start seeing a change, a better outcome when it comes to voting.
This is it is frustrating to me because these things are real. And when elections are over, people then complain about what didn't happen, what should have happened, what could have happened. And they complain about all the candidates that we have, candidates that we should have. And I'm saying, yo, if you ain't in this, then what the hell are you doing? And so I would hope, you only got a few minutes left with early voting in Georgia. I would hope, those of you in Georgia, 1839, I would hope you are going to show up in massive numbers on Tuesday. I'm not holding my breath. I would hope tomorrow in Louisiana, we see a massive black turnout across the board, voting no on all of MAGA Governor Jeff Landry's constitutional amendments. Louisiana, these people are stripping you of a congressional seat. You should be mad as hell and voting like crazy in Louisiana. What this generation cannot do is give up. What this generation can't go is like, oh, well, it's all lost. It is guaranteed to be lost if you check out of this process. It is guaranteed. And so we have MAGA is an existential threat to the future of Black America. And I'm saying this and I'm pleading with any African American who in this country, but especially anybody 1839. If you actually listen to these fools who tell you not to vote, understand that they are stupid, because you cannot find somebody white telling white people do not vote. You cannot find somebody Latino telling Latinos do not vote. You cannot find somebody Asian telling Asians do not vote. It is sadistic to have Black people literally saying to other Black people, you voting, it's the waste of your time. And then they start getting into, well, the Democrats and the Republicans, and I'm telling you right now, one of them is going to win. You can sit here and have a pie in the sky and hope. No, one of them is going to win. So you had better pick somebody who is going to either do the least harm or who you have a better shot at being able to advance an agenda. But if Black people check out, you can say bye-bye to economic power. You can say bye-bye when it comes to education, when it comes to housing, when it comes to health, because these white supremacists, especially the folks in this building behind me, the people in this building behind me, they are no different than those after the Civil War. They are no different than those in the period of Jim Crow. And I'm telling you, the folks in this building, the Republicans hold a supermajority. They are hell-bent on completely destroying Black progress and making Black people second-class citizens in this state, all across the South, and in this country. Got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's happening in Louisiana, also what's happening in Florida. Lots for us to talk about. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We're live here in Montgomery. Understand, I've been making this point, that, listen, we cannot do this without your support. We're going to have about 14 people working tomorrow. We've got 2 of our vehicles down here. Then we have to pay for hotels and airfare, per diem, freelance crew. The expense is going to be anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000. Yeah, so when people say, oh, man, we need to be covering our own stuff, guess what? We're here. I've already seen the media list. CNN's going to be here tomorrow. MS Now's going to be here tomorrow. You're going to have pool cameras going to be here tomorrow. You know what's not going to be here tomorrow? Nobody else in Black-owned media. I don't know, but listen, I'm just telling you right now, okay? I don't know who else in Black-owned media is going to be covering this the way we are covering this here. I don't know where they're going to be. And I personally today contacted TV One, BET, sent to Blavity. I said to other Black-owned media people saying, hey, we will make our feed available for you to put on your Facebook and YouTube channels. But the point I'm telling y'all right now, this stuff is not cheap. It's not cheap at all. So your support is critically important. If you want to join our Bring the Funk fan club, please contribute via Cash App. Use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com. Check some money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Been trying to erase Black political power since Reconstruction. Now the Supreme Court is helping them finish the job. First came Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the ruling that gutted the Voting Rights Act. Then came Brnovich in 2021, another ruling, another piece torn away. Now comes Calais, the case civil rights leaders warned could cripple the last major federal protection against racial vote dilution. And within days, Tennessee eliminated its only majority Black congressional district. Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama, the same strategy is spreading across the South. The old Jim Crow used poll taxes and literacy tests. The new Jim Crow uses gerrymandered maps, voter roll purges, polling place closures, and court rulings that make black communities politically invisible. But this story doesn't end in a courtroom. It moves to Selma. May 16th is a national day of action. Faith leaders will gather at the Edmund Pettus Bridge at 9 a.m. A mass rally follows at the Alabama State Capitol from 1 to 5 p.m. 1965 was Freedom Summer. This is Freedom Summer 2.0 because they are still trying to erase black political power, and we will not bow.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, before we go to our guests in Louisiana, this just saying the United States Supreme Court is rejected a last-ditch appeal by Democratic lawmakers in Virginia for them to consider the referendum that voters there. The Virginia Supreme Court, in a 4-3 decision, said that they did not follow the Constitution, the right procedure in having that voter referendum. Well, they appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court today. They have rejected that appeal from the state of Virginia. That means that Democrats are looking to potentially pick up just 2 seats there, as opposed to having that 10-1 map pick them up 4 seats in Virginia. Speaking of seats, Louisiana is going to be losing 1 majority black seat because of the actions there. Joining us right now to talk about this is Royce Duplessis, Louisiana State Senator, and Regina Ashford Barrow, the Senate President Pro Tem. Let me know when we have Regina back. Representative Duplessis, before I ask you a question, this is the video of a young brother who spoke during one of the hearings where he had this to say directly to those white conservative MAGA Republicans in Louisiana.
The state of Louisiana in 2025 deported multiple children, one of whom was born in New Orleans and had brain cancer. Donald Trump got the pro-life, Bible-thumping Republican Party to say, yes, we want more of that. As a matter of fact, send Gregory Bovino down here to harass more people. So I have no doubt in my mind that the map's going to pass. If y'all can give us less than 0 seats, you would do it. Y'all do this under the orders of somebody that said the Civil Rights Act was harmful to white people, that it caused reverse racism. RFK said that black children are overfilled on antidepressants and that they need to be reparented on different forms, all of them. Pete Hegseth constantly brings Doug Wilson to the Pentagon to give a prayer service. Doug Wilson is the same pastor that said that slave owners were on strong spiritual ground. I don't have no belief in no morality on anybody that followed Donald Trump. If you wasn't with this map, you wouldn't be underneath this president. You wouldn't be in your party. You would stand up, you would stand against it, you would speak out about it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you here as one of these Trump Republicans, you already showed us who you are. You showed us what you want to do. And I believe the country as a whole is rebuking your party. Y'all are in a death spiral. That's why y'all have to redistrict. That's why y'all have to cheat. That's why Trump got to go to Texas and say he entitled to 5 more seats. It's because y'all know what y'all doing is abhorrent. We letting our people die in Iran based on false pretense that Tulsi Gabbard and Joe Kent say it ain't real. Y'all okay with all that. So I'm positive y'all gonna be okay with the maps. But the beautiful thing is, the children that y'all have made and the people that's younger than y'all don't support none of this racism that y'all want. The MAGA party is the last breath of the Confederacy. And I'll be happy to see millennials and Gen Z bury y'all. There will be no more of your party. The midterms gonna come, y'all gonna get wiped out. Trump gonna get dragged out of the White House, and I'm gonna love every second of it. because y'all loved every second of the suffering that he caused to everybody in this country. And worldwide, we starve in Cuba. We bomb Nigeria. We hold in Zimbabwe and Zambia hostage for their minerals. We don't want to give them aid support. The pro-lifers that say all life is special, y'all letting kids die of AIDS. What part of your Bible say that? Point out the scripture. I think everybody would love to see it. And we would love to see y'all in the midterms.
Oh, man, I'm glad to see those young brothers there. Representative Duplessis, what we're seeing right now is, again, this is an absolute attack on black political power. You got an election there in that state tomorrow, and I have been imploring young folks. I'm looking at those Georgia numbers. They're all for 18 to 39, not even 9% of the total vote. And so what is it going to take, from your perspective, to get black folks in Louisiana to use their voting power?
Well, we're going to keep doing everything we can to use platforms like yours to get this message out. My message when we walked off the Senate floor yesterday after the Senate voted how we knew they were going to vote to eliminate one congressional Democratic black congressional seat down to one. We knew how the vote was going to go. My message was that, look, we can't just be mad online and just be frustrated. We have an actual opportunity this weekend, Saturday, to go out and vote. We have 5 amendments on the ballot. We have a U.S. Senate race. And we have to turn that frustration and that anger and that rage that the brother Marshawn so brilliantly articulated in that committee hearing, which I sat in. I sat in a 10-hour-long committee hearing, and that brother spoke truth in a way that we have not heard put so clearly in a long time. And that's a young brother. And I know it's a lot of other young brothers and sisters who feel just like him. So look, it's still a lot of disenchanted young people. It's still a lot of disaffected young people who feel like their vote doesn't count. This won't happen overnight, but I think we do have a rare opportunity to turn this horrible decision by the Supreme Court and this horrible decision by our governor to cancel the election, to turn this into something positive, and that's to go out this Saturday and vote. Our numbers are up in Louisiana, actually.
Senate President Pro Tem Regina Ashford Barrow, to that particular point. I mean, our only way out of this, I mean, we saw what happened with the Supreme Court in Virginia. We saw how the Supreme Court has just completely done things differently when it comes to Louisiana. They were the ones who ruled that it was unconstitutional, and then they're letting Louisiana move forward, changing the election when before it was like, oh, no, you can't change elections 4, 5, 6 months out. They said, oh, a week out? Yeah, go right ahead. The only way out of this is to issue these people a dramatic, major beatdown at the ballot box. And that means, this is why we're here in Montgomery, we're going to have the largest black voter registration effort since the 1965 Voting Rights Act, or I dare say, since Obama's election in 2008.
I totally agree with you. First of all, let me just say I love the hat. I absolutely love the hat. But I totally agree with you, and I believe that we have to go back
gotta
to
block it.
the...
It's a lot of sun out here. It's a whole lot of sun out here, so we're going to block it out.
You're doing a great job of blocking it out, and it looks good on you. But let me just say, in all seriousness, I came up in the era when my grandmother she was like the president of the First Ward Voter League in Gonzales. And so I've been learning how to campaign since a little girl. Like, we did grassroots campaigning. We went and got people and we brought them out to vote. And I heard your panel before. Those are some of the things we have to do today. Now, I was encouraged by the number of young people that showed up this past week at the Capitol, even on a short notice, and actually spoke truth to power, and actually were activated and ready to go out and do something. And I believe it has ignited a fire in Louisiana.
I want to bring in right now Florida State Rep Angie Nixon. have all three of y'all at the same time. You have been protesting a sit-in at the office of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. You got arrested earlier today as well. Listen, I saw your protest on the floor there. I saw the protest in Louisiana. The white Republicans in Tennessee are mad at the black folks and the women because they protested. And in fact, they're so racist. They took all the black people and all the women off of committees, but they did not remove the white male Democrats from their committees. Representative Nixon, I mean, this is all hands on deck. This is where civil disobedience, nonviolent disobedience is a requirement. This is just not business as usual. We got to be sitting here lighting these folks up, and I just don't have time for playing nice with the other side.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And so thanks for having me. Yes, I just got arrested and was just released. And now I'm outside the Leon County Jail in Tallahassee, waiting on two other folks that were arrested alongside me. Look, y'all, at the end of the day, this is all about power and control. And these folks that are in power right now, they're doing everything they can to stay in power, including illegal, unconstitutional things. And so we have to be strategic. We have to work together. We have to organize. Yes, we have to do massive amounts of voter registration. Yes, we have to get out to vote. But we also got to hit these people where it hurts. And where it hurts is their pocketbook, right? A lot of these elected officials that are pushing this bad legislation, right, who are actually appointing a lot of these judges, right? These folks are bought and paid for by these corrupt corporations and these greedy billionaires, these Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Jeff Bezos of the world. And so we need to actually come together and figure out strategically who we need to boycott so that we can hit them where it hurts. You know, they are getting richer. Yep. Meanwhile, people are struggling, and it's not good. And we need to let people know that if they don't do politics, politics is definitely doing us. It's doing us at the gas pump. It's doing us in the grocery line, right? It's doing us every which way. Like, our healthcare premiums are going up, and it doesn't have to be this way. I believe that if we actually start electing hardworking, everyday people, I believe things would change. I believe hardworking people should get to shape what their communities look like and what their economies look like. And unfortunately, the people that are shaping our communities and our economies are these greedy billionaires and corrupt corporations.
Representative Plessis, I won't name the state, but I can tell you right now, there's an effort underway to list the businesses that a number of the state representatives and state senators in this particular state own, and the plan is to launch an economic boycott. Absolutely. This is about using everything. If these folks are going to try to penalize black folks in Louisiana, then black folks in Louisiana absolutely should be responding the best way they can.
Look, the fact of the matter is, Roland, is that they're taking something from black people. They're taking representation. They're taking something from Democrats, they're taking something from independents even. They're pushing for a one-party system. And we know who largely makes up this one-party system. They're using political party as a proxy for race. And that's what Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said you should not do, we cannot do, even as they work to strip the Voting Rights Act. And the way that we have to respond is the way you just said. We have to take something from them. And that's by not supporting or just being complicit and just going along as though everything's okay, because it's not. It's not okay. These rights were not given to us because people were just being generous. People fought, people bled, people died, people gave so much just for us to have these protections in place. And for them to just take them away in such a manner, we have to respond.
Absolutely. And Speaker Pro Tem, let me ask you this here. So the decision in Louisiana, which district do they wipe out? Is it the district of Congressman Cleo Fields? I know there was talk about wiping out both of them. So exactly what was that decision there in Louisiana?
So the decision here in Louisiana, and my colleague, Senator DePlessis, and I were, fighting to maintain both of those congressional seats, right? He, myself, and Senator Jenkins, who serve on the committee, were all fighting to maintain both of those minority-majority districts. But the seat that they actually took away is the seat that represents me directly here in Baton Rouge. And now the seat is going to be primarily in New Orleans. And while initially, they were saying that the current system that we are under was gerrymandered, they have just gerrymandered another district. The district that was created that my colleague Morris actually drew is another gerrymandered district. And so we know this is not going to hold up to the scrutiny of the courts, just on the configuration of the district, and not going along with the fact that it does not, and it is not in compliance with the Jingles versus Thornburg case. That's another thing that really didn't come up that we are going to be able to use, I believe, in fighting this ruling or fighting this map.
Representative Nixon, we're waiting for, of course, for the Florida Supreme Court to rule in that case. We don't have much hope because that's been packed by sycophants of Governor Ron DeSantis. You've got elections there. You're running for a higher office, and you got your primaries in August. I saw a poll out today showing MAGA Republican Byron Donalds up 9 points in the governor's race against David Jolly, up a similar amount against another candidate, Sheriff Demings. And so we've seen Democrats nationally just ignore Florida. What are you seeing there on the ground? And what are you also seeing from Latinos there? Because they screwed over Puerto Ricans. They screwed over Latinos in Florida. And again, are they as pissed off as black people? What are you hearing? Do you believe that you're going to see righteous indignation and anger from them? So give us a sense of what's happening in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, for sure. So we are winning here in the state of Florida. Like a month or two ago, we actually won a seat. We flipped a seat in the state Senate in the Tampa Bay area, and we actually flipped a Florida House seat in the Palm Beach area in Mar-a-Lago, where Donald Trump lives, right? And so folks are pissed, folks are upset, and so people are ready for something different, right? But what we know is come hell or high water, right? Like Republicans are going to turn out in mass, and so it's going to be important for us to elect candidates in the primary that actually don't just say they're running against Trump and anti-Trump, like that can actually inspire folks, right? People right now want a message of hope, a message of change. That's why President Barack Obama was so successful. The fact of the matter is, like, a lot of us, like, we used to being oppressed, particularly here in the state of Florida. We really need we need hope that we can actually get out of this mess and that we can get some tangible things, and we need to make sure that we're electing the right candidates. And so, but I do believe, like, we're on the right track. We flipped some other seats locally across the state, and so it's just going to take more resources. So what I'm asking, right, is like for more people to make donations here, for people not to turn their backs on us here in the state. This is the third largest black population in the country, and for folks to just turn their back on Florida is like wild to me, especially since we're ground zero for where a lot of this bad legislation pops up in other state legislatures, as well as becomes federalized on the federal level. A lot of those bad bills and policies that Donald Trump has started to push during his, his second bout in office, right? They came from Florida. He was like emboldened from what Ron DeSantis did. And so I am hopeful, though. That's one of the reasons that I'm running, to really just try to galvanize the base and let them know that we deserve more, and it doesn't have to be this way. And the fact that they have money to actually do the things that we want them to do is just that they've been putting it in the campaign, into the hands of the folks that donated to their campaign coffers, right? And so if we make sure that we have folks with the moral clarity, with the people at heart, and in their minds, right? Like, then we can actually change the trajectory of our country.
Absolutely. All right. So I got three panelists. I want them to ask y'all a question. And so, panelists, direct who you want your question to go to. First off, let's go to Avis.
Good evening. In terms of the sister in Florida, what do you think, given everything that's going on in Florida, you have a very hostile governor. You have just a state that has a long history of being extremely bold in their violence and hatred towards Black people. What message of hope would you give to the citizens, your fellow citizens in Florida, to let them know that this is not the time to retreat? In fact, just as you bravely did, this is the time to fight.
Yeah, for sure. And so the message that I would give to them is that, especially Black folks, is the fact that we are living, breathing testaments that when you cling to hope, even in your darkest moments, like, change can happen, right? Because a lot of us came from people that were stolen from their country, stripped of their native tongue, right? Threatened to be killed if they learn to read. And so, like, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And also, I like to tell people, like, look at what happened in New York. The fact that the mayor there, he closed the $12 million gap. He was able to do that without cutting services, actually improving services and adding more on. Like, we can do that here in the state of Florida. The fact remains that they have the money to do what is needed to expand Medicaid. They have the money to make sure that our VPK is a full day, actually even expanding VPK to 3-year-olds, right? And fixing up our infrastructure. They literally spent over $500 million standing up a raggedy-ass modern-day concentration camp down in Alligator Alley. So they have the money to do the right things. We just have to elect the right people. And there are people who are beholden to only the people. And so I'm telling folks, like, we cannot give away our power. If our vote didn't matter, like, they wouldn't be doing all these things to strip us of our right to choose who our representatives are. And so they're afraid, right? Like, and so I let folks know, like, we should see that and get excited, right? We should get excited about the possibilities of what we can build here in our country. We all want the same things, right? Even some of the folks that are voting the wrong way, and that's to be healthy, prosperous, and safe. And again, like, we're winning here in the state of Florida. We just need more resources. And what we see is, like, when we put the right folks in office, even like we just won in Miami, the Miami mayor's race went blue after decades, right? And so, like, that woman is putting things in place to actually help the community at whole. And so, like, we can win and we can change what our country looks like. And so we just gotta get to work.
Michael.
Okay, so this deals with Louisiana, if I could. And I was just trying to find out, I know we've talked about, and Gary Chambers has been on here before and talking about low voter turnout amongst African Americans in Louisiana. And we see that Governor Jeff Landry suspended the congressional election. Okay, here for the primaries, right? So for those on the ground, for African Americans, what is their response to what Jeff Landry just did? Is it sinking in for people who didn't think the vote was so important, or don't understand? Are they better understanding what's taking place right now? Because these people are playing for keeps. Okay, and it's like a lot of us are still trying to figure out what's going on.
Madam Pro Tem,
Do you want to? Because I've gotten a mixed bag with that.
Yeah.
There are some people who are outraged at what has actually transpired and trying to figure out, like, how is it possible that he could do something like this? And we saw some of that with people who actually showed up, even with a short notice, less than 24 hours, when we were actually having to be able to come back up before the committee to be voted on. And then there is a number of people who are like confused and saying, where am I supposed to be voting? What am I supposed to be doing? And so we find ourselves really trying to educate people to make sure that they go and cast their vote. So I think I've gotten a mixed bag on that. But as we're beginning to explain to people what is happening, they are understanding the severity of it and understanding that they need to make sure they go out and vote. But I think initially, especially in the beginning, there was a lot of confusion about what was happening and if they really still needed to vote. But I found myself really educating, finding different means to try to get information out to people to ensure that they understood that they still needed to go vote and vote for everything on the ballot.
Yeah, I agree with Madam Pro Tem. I'm going to just briefly add to that. One of the things that I'm sensing right now, and maybe this will get some coverage eventually, is personally frustrating to me. And I know Roland and the panelists were expressing a similar frustration earlier. In 2023, when the election was happening, we told our people this. We told our constituents this. We had a qualified Black candidate by the name of Sean Wilson. He had a PhD, probably one of the most qualified people to ever run for governor, not just in the history of Louisiana, but in the history of this country. Brilliant. All right. People came up with every excuse in the book to say why they didn't vote. Right. And Jeff Landry won with a historically low number of votes back in 2023. I mean, people just literally did not show up to vote. But one of the things that's happening in Louisiana right now that's very interesting is there's this recall underway. So some sisters out of Baton Rouge got together, and now every time I get on social media, I'm hearing about this recall. Like people are talking about the recall in some spaces more than they talk about voting. And I don't know the psychology behind that. Maybe the idea of a recall is just sexier than the idea of going out and voting. But I find that I'm finding, like, in a lot of spaces that people are just talking about this recall petition. And I'm saying, y'all, if you look, I'm not mad at the recall. And if you want to roll with that, fine. I mean, I'm all for it. But it's going to take more registered voters to sign that recall than Jeff Landry got to actually become governor. We're going to need around 600,000 signatures. He was elected with like 550,000 votes. And we have to continue to drill home the message of why it's important to vote in every election. So I think that the frustration for the recall is valid. It's warranted. I'm for it. But let's show up this Saturday and vote with that same energy.
Well, here's my whole deal. I say vote and do the recall. Candace, your question.
Representative Nixon, so you were in the offices of Governor Ron DeSantis for 5 hours. What was it like during that time? And then the arrest, what were you told? Because people are looking at this and hoping that the message got through at least partially, or that there was some movement. So if you could explain that whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. So we decided to, we had a rally earlier today, in response to the unconstitutional and illegal maps that were drawn by the governor. First of all, he's not supposed to be drawing maps. We are supposed to, as state legislators. And we walked over. And we went to the governor's office because we wanted to have a conversation with him. And they said that he wasn't there. He was out of town. And they said that they were going to get a staffer. They never got a staffer. So we waited. Like, we wanted to wait and have a conversation with him because we wanted to demand that he actually call another special session, because he loves to call them, right? Call another special session so that he can actually allow us to redraw maps that were actually constitutional and that were what the voters agreed on. Because back in 2010, we voted to put a ballot amendment. We signed petitions to put an amendment on the ballot, and we voted on that, the Fair Districts Amendment that stated that we would not be allowed to gerrymander and draw maps in a partisan fashion, right? And so that is exactly what he did. And that is exactly what Republicans voted in support of. And so we wanted to have a conversation about that. And I want to say that he basically is making it so that 4 districts that were Democrats will now go potentially towards Republicans. Sorry. And then I also want to highlight that back in 2022, he did something similar. This wasn't the first time like I actually led a protest on the House floor. I led a protest on the House floor in 2022 when he unconstitutionally removed 2 Black congressional districts, right? And then so now, right, I got a formal reprimand on yesterday, right? They wanted to chastise me publicly in an Ethics and Rules Committee. And so we were just fed up. And so we went to the governor's office and we waited, right? And nothing, he just avoided us, didn't send out a staffer. And so we are hoping that with my arrest, with the arrest of 3 other people here in the state of Florida today, that we're able to amplify the fact that Ron DeSantis and the Republican lawmakers here in our state have failed Floridians. We have seen rising costs of property insurance, which is something they could have addressed, right? We have continually seen our teachers be at the bottom as far as pay. They rank 50th for pay, and we have some of the largest school districts in the country. And not only that, we ain't even passed a balanced budget yet. We should have passed a budget months ago, and they're still negotiating in regards to a budget. And so the leadership here in our state is failing Floridians. We are suffering, our people are suffering here, and it's time out for politics as usual, and it's time for the people to get outraged, but take that rage and turn it into righteous anger, right? And register folks and go to the polls to vote.
Thank you.
All right, then. Listen, y'all are out there doing the work. Representative Angie Nixon, we appreciate it. Representative Duplessis, we appreciate it as well. Speaker Pro Tem Regina, appreciate it as well. Bottom line, this is all hands on deck. We need our Black politicians doing what they're supposed to do, our Black lawyers. You need the activists. And again, if you got breath in your body, you got to be engaged in this. As I said at the top, we're here in Montgomery. Listen, already some 5,000 people have registered to be here tomorrow. This is going to be the kickoff of a year-long effort for a massive voter registration effort. It's more than 100 buses coming from all across the country. There are going to be 65 satellite events taking place in other cities beyond here, including as far away as Alaska. People are indeed motivated, but we need more people. Bishop William Barber, they sent me an email. More than 1,100 people have registered for the training that we're going to do on June 12th and June 13th. I set a goal of 1,000. Now I want to hit 2,000. Y'all control room, pull it up. If y'all go to Repairs of the Breach or blackstarnetwork.com, if you want to sign up for this virtual training, we have to actually teach people how to organize and mobilize when it comes to the vote. And so that's going to be happening June 12th and 13th. And so if you want to do that, folks, absolutely click that link, sign up. We initially called for 1,000 alphas. Then other Black men said, I want to be involved. Other brothers in D9 groups and non-D9 groups. Then sisters said they want to be involved. And so we expanded it. And so right there, if y'all go to blackstarnetwork.com, and you'll see it right there. Keenan, let's make sure that stays at the top of the web's page so folks can register. But that's what it's going to take. This is all hands on deck. We can't just sit back and watch what our elected folks in Florida and Louisiana and Georgia and Tennessee are doing. They got to have our back. I keep saying this. Generals can devise war plans, but they need troops to win the war. So let me thank all 3 of y'all for y'all great work. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Let me go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Net.
been trying to erase black political power since Reconstruction. Now the Supreme Court is helping them finish the job. First came Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the ruling that gutted the Voting Rights Act. Then came Brnovich in 2021, another ruling, another piece torn away. Now comes Calais, the case civil rights leaders warned could cripple the last major federal protection against racial vote dilution, and within days, Tennessee eliminated its only majority black congressional district. Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama. The same strategy is spreading across the South. The old Jim Crow used poll taxes and literacy tests. The new Jim Crow uses gerrymandered maps, voter roll purges, polling place closures, and court rulings that make black communities politically invisible. But this story doesn't end in a courtroom. It moves to Selma. May 16th is a national day of action. Faith leaders will gather at the Edmund Pettus Bridge at 9 a.m. A mass rally follows at the Alabama State Capitol from 1 to 5 p.m. 1965 was Freedom Summer. This is Freedom Summer 2.0 because they are still trying to erase black political power, and we will not bow.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Why is it that Donald Trump keeps finding dumb black people? So Scott Turner, he was a former state rep out of Texas, used to play football. Trump named him to be his Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. And Lord have mercy, he went before the United States Senate this week and sounded completely ridiculous. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand just lit his ass up. And so I just had to show it for y'all. Roll it.
Secretary Turner, you and I have a lot of shared values. Yes. We also have a lot of shared goals. And I listened to your opening statement about those shared goals, and I just don't agree with how you're getting there because I don't know. I mean, I get it to say we don't want to fund programs if they're not working well enough. We don't want to fund programs if they're creating dependency and they're not moving people to where they need to be in society. I fully understand that, but I'd like to see the results. If your way, not funding all these programs, is better than the way this committee has tried to address homelessness over decades, I want to see the results. Where is the homeless data report? It is over a year late, and that would give us the data to see if your theory about how to address homelessness actually works.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Ranking Member Gillibrand. And you're right, we do share some of these values. The way that we get there, I think, differ at times. But we're happy to continue. And we've had a great working relationship. And what I will say, and I offer this, is number one, the point in time report in the Biden administration, HUD, said that we had 770,000 people in America that were homeless at one given time. And this is with record funding. So we have record funding, but yet we have an increase in
right. So what is your record?
Yes,
You've
ma'am.
had this job for well over a year. I just want to know, did you get the number down? Do we have 700,000 homeless still? Or is it 1 million or 1.5 million? So I get you want to do things differently.
Indeed.
And this committee will support you as long as the goals are good.
Okay,
but
good.
where's the results? The report is delayed over a year. Over a year.
Can I offer this to you?
Yes, but we have no. I just don't want to hear about what you don't like about the Biden administration. You're in charge. Yeah. You have a vision. Let's see it. Let's see the results.
And you know what I do? I thank God that I'm in charge so we can do stuff different. Because the plays that were ran before I got here, they failed. I've been here. Let me speak, if you will. I got here. You said I have been here a little bit over a year. But you all had, during the Biden administration, 4 years.
Stop talking about Biden.
Funding.
Talk about your record.
Funding.
This is so inaccurate, unhelpful, and doesn't let this committee do our job.
Chair, if I may, the point in time report would be out by now if we did not have an unprecedented government shutdown. It would be out by now. If we weren't in constant litigation, it would be out by now. HUD has a great form. We have a great team, and we move very expeditiously.
In what way does litigation
work
Okay,
during
Mr.
the government
Secretary,
shutdown.
I think you're obfuscating.
I'm not
What way
obfuscating. I'm just
does
stating the
litigation
facts. I'm
slow
stating the
down your
facts.
report?
A government shutdown helps us to not be able to work. It was a
Oh, I
government
get
shutdown.
that, but tell me about the litigation.
The point in time report would be out right now if we did not have a government shutdown. Irregardless of all of that, during the Biden administration, record funding.
Oh my God, if you talk about, it's like
record funding.
It's like two
record
children saying,
homelessness.
I didn't do it, my brother did it.
That's what I
Stop
have
with
to
the
go off of.
excuses.
That's what I have to go off of.
explain
record funding,
your record.
Record homelessness. We have to do something different.
Okay, switch topic.
If after I'm gone,
Switch topic. Honestly,
after I'm gone, if it's still record
I don't
funding
want
and record
You know what?
homelessness,
After
then
you're
you'll be able
gone
to the
is
same
too
thing.
late for
But
the
it is-
families that are suffering in New York
It is
today.
it's gonna
Do you
get
know what
better.
it's like
It's
to
gonna
be a
get better.
homeless little girl who has to have a Girl Scout troop just for other homeless little girls because that's all they have?
Yes,
That's the
ma'am.
only consistency they have in their life. So I get
I
you
do
have a different
understand.
vision.
It's happened in my family. Yes, ma'am, I do
I need to
understand.
know
I'm not
if your
talking to you
stuff
about
is
what
working.
I've heard. I'm talking to you about what I know. And what I do know, the Housing First model failed. Record funding and record homelessness. I don't care what administration it is. You would not run your own household budget this way.
I get
you
it.
would not run
You've been
your
in charge for
business
over a
this
year.
way.
I just want to see
You
results.
would not run your business this way. You would not have a business. So why is this okay for the American taxpayer? It's not okay.
Here's another question. Totally different topic. We agree that one of the programs that we think does work is being able to provide vouchers, tenant protection vouchers. Tell me, will HUD issue guidance for these tenant protection vouchers?
Senator Gillibrand, I have talked to my team, and they have assured me that we will take care of those tenants that are in need for their voucher situation.
But will you issue the guidance for the vouchers? Yes
We
or
will
no?
take care of those that are in need. My team has assured me.
Okay.
And we're happy to
So-
work with you. If you want more information,
I do
I'm
want more
telling you,
information.
we have been
I
assured
want
that
much
we
more
will take
information.
care of those tenants that are
Okay,
in
so
need.
here you go. You've made a promise. You're going to take care
And
of
we'll
them.
keep it.
You want to take a different tact. You don't want to use the vouchers, is what I hear you're saying.
I didn't say that. I did not say
Well,
that.
let me know, because we would like the vouchers to be used, number one. And if you're not going to use them and you're going to take care of them, I would like to know within the next few months that you have done so.
Oh my God! I mean, under Biden, Michael, she was sick of hearing that crap, and she should have jammed him up.
Yeah, she should have jammed up Scott Turner because he is doing the bidding of the Trump administration. He didn't want to talk about how many people are homeless under the Trump administration, and I don't think he even knows. He may not even know what it is. Now, the other thing that's important to note is that they want to gut the protections of the Fair Housing Act of 1968. And remember, Donald Trump and his racist daddy were sued by Richard Nixon's Department of Justice for discriminating against African Americans in leasing apartments. Okay, they settled. Okay, they settled out of court, and then they were sued 3 years later. Once again, so there's an antipathy that Trump has for the Fair Housing Act also. But this, this is the consequences of elections. I hate to say it, once again, this is how you get people like this. But 2 million more people voted for Trump than Kamala Harris. And this is what you end up with.
It's accountability. And, they love to see they keep blaming. These folks refuse to accept any level of responsibility, Candace.
Yeah, it was not an answer. It was the performance of an answer, and then it wasn't even that good of a performance. I agree with Michael. I don't think he knew the answer. It was like he had been on vacation and this was his first day back and no one caught him up. How can you get on that floor and not know exactly what they're going to ask? You can anticipate all of the questions that are going to come to you because you have the topic that you're going to be talking about long before. I'm not sure what to say about him except that he looked ridiculous and he I just don't think he had the answer, just like Michael said. But it really proves, kind of the level of leadership, if you will, that is out there and how they're not connecting the dots in any way except to try to connect it to the Biden administration. In plain English, it's like he was filibustering himself. He didn't have the answer. I don't even know what to say about him, but I am sure that someone hopefully will be talking to him about what to do the next time, because that is not how you get on that floor in order to answer a question.
I'm going to keep this thing as simple as I can, Avis. What I saw reminded me of somebody saying back in the day, that boy dumb.
Well, he very well may be. He does not seem to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. I will say that, okay? But in addition to that, I would say that this is consistent with what this administration does. I mean, I completely agree. He doesn't know the answer, but that's not by accident. It's not just because he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. It is by design, right? This is the same administration that fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? I don't believe jack shit that comes out of BLS right now around the jobs numbers anymore, okay? They make up shit. This is the same administration that just the other day had Kash Patel testifying before Congress, rattling off crime statistics about what a wonderful job the FBI has done. And he was barely out of his seat until there were leaks coming out of the FBI saying specifically that all that was lies. Every last bit of it was a lie. They aren't looking to calculate and capture numbers because they don't want the American people to know what a fucked up job they're doing. I'm just so sorry. I can't. I'm just angry about this because data matters. What you don't measure, you're able to hide the impacts that you are not, in fact, having. You're able to hide the fact that people are hurting. You're able to hide the fact that you are not serving people. You're able to hide what a poor job that you're doing. This administration has literally made it one of their specific endeavors to hide as much data as possible. And at the same time, they have been coaching each and every member of the cabinet to get in front of Congress and to get in front of these committees and just filibuster in that way to avoid answering questions, because they would then have to be transparent to some degree around what poor of a job that they're doing, and they will never admit that. They will never admit it to the public.
Absolutely that. Hey, so we got here. We decided to, we were biding some time, and so I told y'all I went down to the Dexter Avenue parsonage where Dr. King, Coretta Scott King stayed, other pastors as well. Literally were staying here in front of the church. Y'all come on over here. So these are the folks who gave us the tour. They're longtime members of the church. Y'all come on, step on here. So I didn't have to bring my microphone with just me talking. So y'all going to project. Come on. Y'all stand right here. Come on, y'all stand right here. All right. So first of all, tell folks what your name is.
Wanda Anderson.
Wanda, look right there. Wanda Anderson.
Elizabeth Monroe and Teresa Kennedy.
All right. So y'all, so they told me that during COVID, before they had paid folk who were doing the tours, and then they decided to volunteer. They thought it was going to be for a few months. It's now been 4 years, and so they did the tour at the parsonage, did the tour here at the church, and so. But explain to folks that y'all depend upon the donations of people who tour to fund to keep the upkeep of these properties, right?
That is correct. That's correct. 5 properties to take care of.
You have 5 properties?
Yes.
Got it. And so that's the church,
The Legacy Center.
the Legacy Center,
and the parsonage, and Interpretive Center, and Vernon's Place.
Got it. For Pastor Vernon Johns. Gotcha. And so you did the tour of the church.
That's correct.
And you would break it all down. And it was fascinating to hear that this church is literally on the ground that used to be, was it a slave pen? What was it called?
Yeah, the Trader's Pen. They call it the Trader's Pen, but yeah.
She said it was the trader. Actually, let's step up a little bit closer so they can hear you, because I would anticipate having all 4 of y'all here, so I didn't grab my microphone. But say it again.
It was called the Trader's Pen. It's where they kept the slaves and shackled them until they took them down to Court Square to be auctioned off. That's the area where the church is built.
And so what was also amazing is that Of course, they've been longtime members. And so when you were talking, you said you remember being in the choir, watching as Coretta Scott King sang.
No, I said I remember watching her singing.
Right, I said, but you said you were sitting in the, what were you say you were in the?
I was out in the congregation.
Oh, you were in the congregation. I thought you said you were behind her, but you were watching her sing. There's a picture of you as a child with her as well and Yolanda. So tell folk your story.
Well, I really don't have a story. My grandfather is responsible for bringing King to Dexter.
So your grandfather was responsible for bringing Dr. King to Dexter. Gotcha. All right, cool. Cool. Your fondest memory.
I wasn't a member at that time.
Yeah, but still, your fondest memory being a member of Dexter Avenue.
Well, a lot of my teachers were members of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. And Lamb High, where I went to school.
And y'all still out here handling y'all business, doing well.
And
So
we were all family.
4 generations Dexter, 6 generations Dexter. So you the youngin' in this group.
But we all went to school together.
Okay. Now, so if people watching want to support the upkeep of these 5 buildings, where do they go? Is there a website? Where do they go?
We do have a website, and there's a QR code on there. That they can,
Okay,
drop
but
down
we ain't
that
got
they-
the QR code, so you got to tell them the website, Wanda.
Website.
What's the website, Wanda?
You put me on the spot. Which is the church's website?
I'm trying to get y'all some money now. Come on.
There's a drop
Carol,
down.
look up.
They can.
Carol, look it up right now. She's looking it up right now.
There's a drop down.
All right, so while she's looking, what are the hours where people, if they want to go to the interpretive center or come to the church for tours?
We're in the interpretive center every Friday and Saturday from 10.
For every Friday, Saturday, 10 to 4.
They have to call us.
All right, so they want to come during the week. They got to call and schedule an appointment. At least a week in advance.
And that number is
334. Oh, praise the Lord. She know the number. 334 261
3270.
334 261
3270.
3270. All right, then. Well, I appreciate it. Y'all keep,
And we'll call them back.
leave a message and we'll call them back. And we're going to get that website because Wanda can't remember what the website is. I appreciate it.
Nikki, what's the website?
All right, y'all. At least Nikki know what it is. It's DexterKingMemorial.org. DexterKingMemorial.org. Y'all be sure to support the upkeep of our historic institutions. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, then. Remember that website next time, Wanda. I'll write it down. There you go. All right. All right. Let me go to a quick break. I'm gonna come back with our final story. Fox News showing their usual racism, and I'm gonna tell y'all about that right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
They've been trying to erase black political power since Reconstruction. Now the Supreme Court is helping them finish the job. First came Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the ruling that gutted the Voting Rights Act. Then came Brnovich in 2021, another ruling, another piece torn away. Now comes Calais, the case civil rights leaders warned could cripple the last major federal protection against racial vote dilution. And within days, Tennessee eliminated its only majority black congressional district. Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama. The same strategy is spreading across the South. The old Jim Crow used poll taxes and literacy tests. The new Jim Crow uses gerrymandered maps, voter roll purges, polling place closures, and court rulings that make black communities politically invisible. But this story doesn't end in a courtroom. It moves to Selma. May 16th is a national day of action. Faith leaders will gather at the Edmund Pettus Bridge at 9 a.m. A mass rally follows at the Alabama State Capitol from 1 to 5 p.m. 1965 was Freedom Summer. This is Freedom Summer 2.0 because they are still trying to erase black political power, and we will not bow.
I'm Ryan Wilson, CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Folks, if a racist comment is made on Fox News, you can take it to the bank that Jesse Waters is the one who uttered this remark. This is what he had to say on Fox News as how black folks should respond to the Supreme Court Louisiana versus Calais decision and the right wing's efforts to attack and destroy black political power. Listen to this bigot.
I did some research on the blacks, as Judge Janine so eloquently would say. The solution to Hakeem's problem, this gay Obama, is baby making. Blacks, for 150 years, have only represented 10 to 15% of the American population. Okay? That's not that much. So if they want to have more seats, they got to get in between the sheets. The Spanish, they're coming north, they're having tons of kids, and at this point, they have almost the same amount of House seats as blacks. The Hispanic caucus is almost as big as the black caucus. So if you guys need to solve that problem,
I'm not arguing for
you know what you need to do.
I'm not arguing for more black congressmen. I'm arguing just don't draw the districts to advantage a party.
No, you're just discriminating against whites. That was an all-black district.
I'm discriminating.
We want to be in that district.
You think I'm discriminating against my kids?
We don't support segregation.
Am I discriminating against my kids?
No, it's not a blacks only, it's whites only. We have a, very diverse district now.
Run that back.
I did some research on the blacks, as Judge Janine so eloquently would say. The solution to Hakeem's problem, this gay Obama, is baby making. Blacks, for 150 years, have only represented 10 to 15% of the American population. Okay? That's not that much. So if they want to have more seats, they got to get in between the sheets. The Spanish, they're coming north, they're having tons of kids, and at this point, they have almost the same amount of House seats as blacks. The Hispanic caucus is almost as big as the black caucus. So if you guys need to solve that problem,
I'm not arguing for
you know what you need to do.
I'm not arguing for more black congressmen. I'm arguing just don't draw the districts to advantage a party.
No, you're just discriminating against whites. That was an all-black district.
I'm discriminating.
We want to be in that district.
You think I'm discriminating against my kids?
We don't support segregation.
Am I discriminating against my kids?
No, it's not a blacks only, it's whites only. We have a, very diverse district now.
I am, Candace, just routinely disappointed in Harold Ford, who sits there skinning and grinning when Jesse Waters makes that absolutely ludicrous, racist, dumbass comment, when in fact, the folk who ain't having babies are white folks. They're the ones not getting in the sheets. And the reality is, the actions that they are taking are because white people have stopped having kids. But this is what we come to expect from a sheer buffoon of Jesse Waters. That's who he is.
Bit of a Kevin Hart roast where you just had, these very questionable jokes and statements, and then people just kind of laughing and not knowing exactly what to say. Now, I don't use this word a lot, but he sounded completely stupid because of the point that you made. And the other point is that blacks have the numbers in the districts. That's why we need the representation. It's just that the lines have been shifting. So all around, none of it makes any sense at all. I don't know what to say, but I am not surprised. It's just kind of, the same tune with different lyrics. And here we have lyrics that take us back to the slave days and the way that people were forced to make babies in order to work the plantation. It's the same thing. And this is exactly what I'm thinking about. And when I hear his tone, when I hear his disgusting rhetoric and hear his tone-deaf way of trying to express what democracy is all about. Absolutely ridiculous, not surprised, and glad that he is continuing to show himself.
And of course, he's trying to be cute there, Michael, by saying the blacks.
Yeah, you know, it's so much here. So let me keep this brief. So first of all, Jesse Waters is a complete idiot. Okay, now he's talking about the Louisiana case. All right, and it was not a all black district. Okay, it's majority black district. Well, two majority black districts, but African Americans are 33% of the state population in Louisiana, right? He has no problem with the majority white districts. Okay, notice that. He has no problem with the majority white districts. He has a problem when you have these two majority black districts. So then he talks about African Americans should have more babies. And we dealt with this on the show before, Roland, how the New York Times a few years ago had the piece, white people have the negative birth rate in 26 states out of 50. But also, we see that in February of 2026, for the first time in the history of this country, the majority of births of children were of minority babies. So it was 50.4% minority babies. So what he says, it absolutely makes no sense. But he's trying to deflect from the racist gerrymandering that's taking place and saying the answer to that is for you to have more children. No, the answer to that is stop being racist and draw the maps fairly.
Absolutely. Avis?
I'm not really trying to make an argument about, the politics of it. Let's just be real. What we witnessed is the quiet white conversations that typically happen in white spaces when no black people are around, or when safe black people are around, like Henry Ford, who sits there and wants to giggle and laugh and talk about the fact that, oh, well, I wasn't talking about race. I don't want them to do it by just, and it's really it's really interesting because his whole political career was ended because of a racist ad. And he's going to sit there and now sell his soul to sit there and shuck and jive for racists on national TV. I hope he's proud of himself. But what we just saw there was a display of what typically happens among racists, but it was just put there on full view for all to see. Lastly, I will say, to your point, Roland, you have seen a lot going on right now with the right wing trying to incentivize white people to have more children. Truth be told, this is the whole reason why they went after Roe v. Wade. They want white women at home birthing more babies. They are right now pushing an agenda where they're trying to actually pay them to have babies. I just saw a couple of days ago a report literally on Fox News where they were whining and complaining about how low the teenage pregnancy rate was. You have white lawmakers across the country trying to pass legislation or barely getting legislation knocked down that would allow them to be able to marry basically teenagers. It's really quite interesting once you put that in the context of the Epstein files. And let's not even talk about what the crime statistics look like with regards to child molestation and pornography and how that's parsed out by race. Because it's overwhelmingly white men that get caught up in that and that get arrested for that. So it's something about that culture where that is something that is interesting, apparently. But I do want to say, you're exactly right. We're here because they understand that they are at a population disadvantage. And they are creating a system now through this gerrymandering where they no longer they're trying to create a system where they will no longer even need the majority in numbers to win. If they can just gerrymander the system enough, they will always win because they have stacked the cards to their favor. But at the same time, they are terrified about being a minority white nation. And they are doing everything they can right now by hook or by crook in order to turn the white birth rate around, even though they're going to use this opportunity to be racist with regards to discussing Black birth rates.
All right, let me thank all three of y'all being on today's panel. Avis, thanks a bunch. Candace, I appreciate it. Michael, thanks a bunch as well. Folks, we are here in Montgomery, Alabama, where tomorrow the All Roads Lead to the South Day of Action for Voting Rights, National Day of Action for Voting Rights is going to take place. So as you see behind me, they're already getting ready. You've got security that's already lining the street here as well. And so you see them, they are putting up, let me just go ahead and show y'all here. I'm going to zoom in as I can, much as I can. You see they over here putting up the main platform. So you see that. You see just to the right, you see our tent right there. That's where we are going to be set up to do our broadcast. We are going to be here. First of all, so let me explain to you what's going on Saturday, beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time. We are going to be live in Selma, Alabama. We're going to be live in Selma. They're having a church service from 9 to 10 or 10:30. Then what they're going to do is they're going to then leave the church, and then they're going to let me just point this camera back down, sorry y'all. Then they're going to leave the church, and then they're going to then make their way over to the base of the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And then what they're going to do, they're going to have prayers there. Then there's going to be a silent, solemn walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. They're not shutting the bridge down. They're going to be on the side. And so we're going to live stream all of that. We're going to have a couple of cameras that are going to be there. So we're going to be covering all of that. And then that's going to close. That's going to close out around 11:30 Central. 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern. Then at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, we will start our broadcast from here. We're going to start our broadcast from here at 1 p.m. Eastern. And so what's going to happen is the pre-show is going to start at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. The speakers will start at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And so we're going to cover all of that. And so we're going to have complete coverage. We're looking forward to that. We want you to tune in to the Black Star Network. Tell everybody to tune in. We are actually sharing our feed with about 25 or 30 other Facebook, YouTube pages. So we're going to be all over tomorrow. So looking forward to that. And so, like I say, we're going to have 11 people here in Montgomery. We're going to have 3 to 5 people in our control room back in D.C. So we're going to have complete coverage of all of this. And so really looking forward to it. And so again, all roads lead to the South. Go to the website, allroadsleadtothe.com. More than 100 buses are going to be coming here. We're going to have, of course, 65 satellite events taking place across the country. Don't forget, black folks, tomorrow in Louisiana, you go to the polls. Vote no on all 5 constitutional amendments that are on the ballot. So please, we need all of y'all to maximize the vote in Louisiana. Tell all of your friends. And so, again, the kickoff to Freedom Summer 26, where we're going to be focused on the largest mass voter registration of black folks since the 1965 Voting Rights Act, is kicking off tomorrow. We'll have live coverage right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. So tune in to us. Go ahead and put it on your schedule. There's no one, and I'm telling you right now, CNN, MS Now, none of those folks, they are going to have the kind of coverage that we're going to have tomorrow right here. And that's why black-owned media matters, where we center African Americans. And so your support is critically important. I already told y'all, it's going to cost about $40,000 to $50,000 for us to be here. In fact, I'm about to go to store to see of picking up another Wi-Fi unit, because we want to make sure that we have a strong signal tomorrow. So that's what we're working on right now. And so your support is critically important. And so it's real simple. We need you. We don't have, like these right-wing folks, we don't have these millionaires and billionaires cutting us checks. Also, everybody who's watching on YouTube, hit the like button. We should easily be over 1,000, 1,500 likes. So y'all been slow, so hit that doggone like button. So if y'all want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen. If you're listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com. That QR code's also for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV. You want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag like I'm wearing right now? Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. We get our polos, our zip-ups, our T-shirts, you name it. We got it all on the website with shopblackstarnetwork.com. All of these products that you see in my studio right now, these are all black-owned products. Go to our marketplace. You can get these black-owned companies at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Don't forget, download the app. Download the app fan base. Follow me at Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to check out every day, noon Eastern, the breakdown with Brittany Noble right on the Black Star Network, noon Eastern every single day. Don't forget, you can check out also our other shows on the Black Star Network as well. There are 5 shows on the Black Star Network, so be sure to support them all. Folks, that's it. We got to go. Got to get some rest. We're going to be up early tomorrow as we will be broadcasting live from Montgomery, from of course, all roads lead to the south, right here in Montgomery, Alabama. I'll see y'all tomorrow, and we always close out every show on Friday with all of the donors, the 47,000 plus people who've donated to our show. Again, you want to get your name on that list, go to blackstarnetwork.com, and you got all the ways to contribute. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!